Tonight on News 5 Live, GOB outlines its position on cruise ports. Athletes get welcome news about contact sports. The opposition and GOB work to boost vaccination rates. And was it a malicious fake or true public health concern? News 5 looks into the case of the toilet paper tacos. Details of these stories and more coming up in tonight's newscast.
We have been a partner with Smart for over 10 plus years. We have a full Smart plan we use as our major driver for our business. We have a service that rolls over in that if you call one and it is busy, it rolls over to the next line. So once you call us, you can get us at any time. Before we got this Smart service, we were paying upwards of nearly $2,000 in phone bills. Since we've had our Smart service, we pay an average about $600. So we've had tremendous saving, more than 50%. For the businesses, if you want to save money, switch to Smart because it is far more cost effective and the service is excellent.
Smart continues to be innovative in bringing new technology and meaningful savings during these challenging times to businesses across Belize. Sign up for our VoIP technology or broadband packages and save more.
Have you tried the Atlantic Insurance app yet? If not, you are literally missing out. When you request a renewal on your motor insurance policy through our AIC app, you automatically get an additional 10% off. When you use our app to request a renewal of your property insurance, you get a special discount. For new customers, the savings get even bigger. Request a quotation using our app, and upon acceptance of the business, you qualify for up to 30% on motor insurance. And of course, special discount applies for property insurance. Download and use our AIC mobile app today and save. Atlantic Insurance, insuring you from life's unexpected.
Have you ever wondered how to tell if someone is marriage material? Do you ever wish there was more to your marriage? Maybe you've asked yourself, how do I raise my kids the way God wants me to? Join us for our new series, Mixtape. We'll play through how God wants us to love the people in our lives one track at a time. Get ready to crank up the volume and tune in for advice God gives us in the areas that matter most.
Following the COVID-19 vaccination, some people may experience side effects such as soreness at the injection site, chills, nausea, body aches, or a fever. But these symptoms go away after a few days. These side effects are a result of your immune system responding to the vaccine and are not a sign that you are sick with COVID-19. The COVID-19 vaccines will not give you COVID. When you receive your vaccine, the health worker will advise you what to take if you are experiencing any of these side effects. Remember, these mild side effects cannot compare to you not being able to share memorable moments with your family and friends if you fall gravely ill from COVID. Vaccines bring us closer.
And good evening. Welcome to News 5 Live for Tuesday, October 19th. I am Sabrina Daly. Cabinet today issued a 3-page statement on the cruise sector and port developments. The statement speaks to the Port of Magical Belize project and the Port of Belize's proposed cruise terminal. As it relates to Port of Magical Belize, the release says the project has received environmental approval, subject to a strict and detailed environmental compliance plan. The release goes on to say that a final determination is pending from NEAC for the Port of Belize's proposed cruise terminal. Cabinet reaffirmed its commitment to foster the development of modern, efficient, and cost-effective cargo and bulk shipping port operations as a part of an imminent national ports policy. Cabinet says it will also publish an updated national cruise tourism policy and the national ports policy in the coming months. In its final point, Cabinet emphasized the importance of adherence to Belize's ecological conservation and sustainability. The release says sustainable development, including cruise tourism expansion, must not contemplate only this decade's gains. GOB also notes that the Blue Bonds for Conservation will generate $170 million for marine investments and management over the next 20 years, and thereafter yield a marine conservation endowment approximating $200 million Belize. Regarding Stake Bank, the statement says the project is in construction phase and projected to be operational in 2022, having received the requisite approvals and permits. As it pertains to the proposed causeway from Belize City to Northern Drown Key and the causeway to Stake Bank, the Cabinet release says these projects are subject to an active governmental review to determine the validity of all processes and approvals. Cabinet says it has received an initial briefing from Chief Environmental Officer Mr. Martin Alegria, where serious questions have arisen, including purported missing files. Cabinet says it has instructed Alegria to produce a written report on the factual circumstances associated with the processes engaged to seek regulatory approvals for these development projects. And while Cabinet waits that report, the UDP maintains its position on the Stake Bank causeway.
We have proposals for 3 ports, as you know, and some have environmental difficulty. The Stake Bank project, for instance, you know that there is serious back and forth going on with that, and the UDP made its position known. In fact, we did not know if there was that kind of clearance given. It was not given with the approval of the UDP administration, and I need to be clear that it is not because the UDP then or the UDP now is against that kind of development. All that the UDP said is that it cannot be done without people giving their input in the form of consultations, and that is our position, and we maintain that. It may be that people see it as something good. In fact, we go all over the world and we see causeways in effect, and it can coexist with nature. But let us have the people give us their view so that we cannot have that kind of fallout.
On Monday, the alcalde of Big Falls Village, Eulalio Choco, along with 4 other residents, came forward in the media to address concerns that they say the community is having with respect of communal land rights. While it was only a small group, they are firmly against collectively owning the lands that comprise the village. Notwithstanding the ruling of the Caribbean Court of Justice, they say that the village, by and large, prefers that the government takes the lead in dividing up the properties so that residents are instead individual landowners. This evening, we got a response from the spokesperson of the Maya Leaders Alliance, who told News 5 that while their position ought to be respected, a decision such as that cannot be made by minority villagers, and that a village meeting ought to be held to determine a popular consensus.
Perhaps if I could give my perspective on the recent flurry of opposition. I want to put it that way because we have seen this happen time and time again, each and every time that there is a visit and a delegation of ministers to the Toledo district, which fortunately I was able to witness myself. I wanna give our perspective. The Maya villages have lands that are protected by the law. The Constitution itself protects their rights to their lands. And the recent Caribbean Court of Justice basically affirms this right and says that this right is equal in protection to any other forms of property rights here in Belize. So the village itself, and when I say the village, I'm talking about all 41 Maya villages, including Big Falls and San Marcos. The village itself will have to make decision on what it wants to do with its land. All right, the right of the village cannot be ignored as we speak. If a community decides that, listen, while the court has told me that I own this land, while the court has said that I have a right to this land, I will choose not to accept my inheritance, basically. I will choose to accept that the government is the one that controls and administrates, and that the government is the one that issues individual private properties on my lands. That is their right. However, that decision cannot be made by a single individual in that community. And it cannot be made by a minority of individuals in that community.
The issue of land rights as they pertain to the indigenous community is once again at the forefront of public discourse. Recent developments in St. Bite Village, as well as land dispute between the communities of Barranco and Midway, have prompted the National Garifuna Council to organize a panel discussion on Thursday. The purpose of the roundtable is to raise public awareness on the importance of land to the Garifuna way of life. The discussion will also look at the history of the Garinagu in the context of land rights and ownership. Of the 8 communities that have been settled by the Garinagu, all, with the exception of Libertad and Georgetown, are coastal villages. Over the years, Hopkins and St. Bite have grown to become major tourism destinations, and as such, the sale of prime real estate to foreign developers has become a concern within the Garifuna community. Earlier today, News 5 spoke with executives of the NGC ahead of Thursday's virtual event.
The objective of our panel discussion is to inform and educate our people and people that not only the Mayas have rights, but the Garifuna as well have rights. And there are things that we can do to protect our community, our indigenous communities and our Garifuna communities. It's also to show our people the value that our land have. We're trying to encourage our members not to sell their lands, because we do realize that a lot of our Garifuna people are selling their lands to foreigners, and we want them to understand that land is very valuable in this country, and it is an asset that we should try to protect and not to give away. When you give away your property, you give away your right to that community, your tie to that community. So that's one of the reasons we're having this panel discussion.
Yes, there are these issues happening in our communities as it pertains to land and land rights, but we also want to look at the historical, the social, the economic, the agricultural impacts that it has had on our people. And so that is one of the reasons that we're taking this angle to holistically discuss this issue and to begin the conversation, or to continue the conversation. We have been going to different communities, and we have been doing, we did educational and awareness sessions with them, so that the people in the communities can better understand the importance of land, the different resources, the value of land, and begin to work together to utilize the spaces that they have in their communities. So in addition to what Sheena mentioned, we are encouraging people to not sell their land, but we're also trying to provide alternatives and ways that they can use the land that they have in their communities.
The panel is made up of 4 speakers, including Doctors Petra Arana and Philip Castillo, as well as MLA spokesperson Christina Koch and Marvin Blades. Koch has been at the forefront of the Maya land rights case in which the Caribbean Court of Justice ruled in favor of the 38 indigenous communities, affirming their right to communal lands.
NGC is a part of BENIC, which is the Belize National Indigenous Council, and we have been working closely over the past 3 years to strengthen the capacity of collectively of BENIC, but also individually of the different constituencies that make up BENIC, which include the MLA, Maya Leaders Alliance, and the Northern Maya Association of Belize. So we know that, you know, the Maya land rights case, they got a successful ruling from the CCJ. And so we wanted to show people from the Belize perspective, you know, that it is possible for our land rights to be recognized legally and for them to share some of their experiences along that line. So that is the reason why they're included. So it ties in back to the bigger picture. Remember, we are looking at the bigger picture for us as a people.
News 5 also spoke with Christina Koch, who is the spokesperson of the Maya Leaders Alliance and the Toledo Alcaldes Association. The opportunity to speak on the issue of land rights allows her to share the Maya perspective, since they led the charge to have indigenous land rights recognized by the courts.
It is certainly an honor to have been invited to this panel to share our experience and our journey from the Maya land rights movement, and to share with our brothers and sisters of the Garifuna community what are some of the tools that we use, what are some of the challenges, and now what are some of the limitations post-judgment, post-decisions. And so in that regard, I have been invited to join a panel to speak on the Maya land rights case more broadly, and to provide our experiences in terms of taking a legal strategy.
Do you see any similarities, perhaps, in terms of both groups being indigenous to Belize and the fact that some of the struggles may very well be similar or intersecting?
Of course, there are a lot of similarities, a lot of common issues and common aspirations of both the Maya and the Garifuna. The Garifuna people are also land-based, but they're also sea-based communities, and they depend very directly on, in terms of their livelihoods, on their ability to access their territories, whether that be the seascapes or the landscapes that they currently use and occupy.
Coming up, the leader of the opposition talks COVID and crime. Highlights of that interview when we return.
Hello, friends. This is Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word. The Bible says, because God's children are human beings made of flesh and blood, the Son also became flesh and blood, for only as a human being could he die, and only by dying could he break the power of the devil, who had the power of death. For many years, my friend Bern Williams and I walked up and down the streets throughout Belize, sharing the gospel of Christ and personally meeting and identifying with the warm-hearted people of this country. Often people would recognize me and say, "I never knew I would meet you personally." To me, Christmas helps us know that Jesus is not just someone we can know about, but someone who came to live among us and die for us, that we could know him personally. I once heard of a Persian Shah who loved his people and desired desperately to help them, so he dressed as a poor man and sat with his subjects. There was one commoner he especially liked. He ate this man's coarse food, and when the poor man was happy, the Shah was happy with him, and when sad, the ruler shared his sorrow. Then one day the Shah revealed his identity, and he expected the commoner to ask for a gift. But gazing upon him, the man said, "You left your palace to sit with me. You cared whether my heart was glad or sad. Others you may bestow riches, but to me you have given the priceless gift of yourself. This, my friends, is what Jesus did for me and what Christmas means to me. Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
Did you know that the 2021 Belize Telephone Directory is now available? Get your free copy today at any Digistore, Quartz Belize, and A&R location countrywide. It's available in both regular and mini sizes and loaded with coupons to your favorite places. Use these coupons to save every day. Plus, download the Find Yellow mobile app and always have the directory with you. It's available in Google Play and Apple Store. For more info, log on to www.findyellow.com. The 2021 Belize Telephone Directory. Get yours today.
Are you looking to invest in a growing free trade economy with ideal geographical positioning and existing economic partnership agreements with countries around the world? Perfectly nestled between Central America and the Caribbean, Belize is open for business with over $500 million in investment opportunities in industries such as agriculture, aquaculture, tourism, and much more. Register today to participate in the Belize Investment Summit 2021 and find the investment opportunity that's right for you.
RF&G Insurance wants you to be prepared for the hurricane season. We encourage you to visit us at 1 Coney Drive in Belize City or one of our countrywide agents to review your insurance policies to make sure you are adequately covered to weather any storm. RF&G Insurance Company Limited, where it pays to get it right.
Leader of the opposition Patrick Faber says members of the opposition in Parliament will be collaborating with the Ministry of Health in their constituencies to increase vaccination uptake among their constituents. Faber made an appearance on Channel 5's Open Your Eyes this morning, where he told us about this partnership between opposition and government in the fight against COVID-19.
I have seen where the government, since our press conference at least, has made some attempt to put in place some of the things we've suggested. Key to those suggestions was testing and making sure that testing is free. We saw that 2 stations, at least for free testing, were opened. We have received as representatives an outreach from the Ministry of Health to say, can you put together the people in your constituency and encourage them with your machinery to get the vaccination, and the government will come in and do what is necessary. Something we've long suggested. Why is it that we're not setting up shop in Collet and in Albert and in Mesopotamia and everywhere else? If the people won't come to you, then you go to them. And I've seen where they've frowned on my suggestion or party's suggestion about incentives for vaccination. I think those things can work, and we can get to a much more comfortable percentage of the population being vaccinated if we do those things.
And while the opposition and the government are working hand in hand to get constituents vaccinated, they do not see eye to eye on the procurement process for their importation of COVID tests into Belize. Back in January, the Minister of Health passed an SI prohibiting the importation of COVID tests without first getting the approval of his ministry. The opposition has since criticized this as a move to enrich the pockets of political cronies. And while the Prime Minister in a recent interview says his administration is seeking to ensure that Belizeans have access to free tests, Faber says the 2 sites currently open for this service is not enough.
We have set up, as I indicated in my Independence Day address, a procurement process now to enrich people, and that is obvious. People are getting rich off testing. People are getting rich off the medications, and this should never happen in the time of a pandemic. And it's not only happening in Belize, it's happening worldwide too, but we can, where it is possible on our front, to eliminate some of the middle people, that ought to be done. I came in to the airport yesterday, and you know that there is a mandatory testing now coming into the country. And while the people at the airport and the government officials who were there, the airport officials were absolutely cordial to me, and I was given a complimentary test as a diplomat. Everybody else who came who didn't have a test had to pay $100. No, people who travel, people will argue, can pay. But there are circumstances in this country where people need a test and they have to pay $100 or $150 for that test because they can't get it. Opening at the Civic and the Belmopan Civic are just two locations.
From Punta Gorda to Corozal, the Ministry of Health has added additional COVID-19 sites for free testing. The new sites are in addition to those recently opened at the Belize City and Belmopan Civic Centers. Here's a rundown of the locations for our viewers. The Red Cross Building in Punta Gorda, BTL Park in Dangriga, Falcon Field in San Ignacio, the Sports Council in Santa Elena, and Marshalek Cancha in Benqueviejo. In the north, there are new testing sites in the Corozal Civic Center, Chinosh Health Center, and San Andreas Community Center. In Orange Walk, testing is now being carried out at the Central Park Louisiana Government School, Banquitas, and the People's Stadium. According to the Ministry of Health, testing hours are 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday. The free tests are for anyone except those requiring them for travel. The leader of the opposition also took on the issue of crime that continues to plague Southside Belize City. In response to the Prime Minister's recent announcement that the Southside would be declared a special development zone, Faber accused the government of having no real plan to tackle crime.
Harry Musa has, when in opposition, made interview after interview to the media, proclaiming that he had solutions. Plan Belize, of course, outlined all kinds of strategies that they would do. We have the Prime Minister on record talking up a storm of what he would have done on the South Side when similar type situations flared up on the South Side, especially in Belize City. I see that he's now trying to do a camouflage job of declaring the South Side some development area, because people called him out on it, because they brought back the clips of what he said he would do. And some of these things are absolutely not going far enough in terms of helping our residents on the South Side. They've had a lot to say about South Side representatives. And there must be a reason why people continuously vote for the UDP on the South Side. Because we work with people and we try to develop their lives. It's a tough job. It is one of the most difficult areas of our country to serve as a representative.
On the other hand, the opposition is often criticized for not being able to successfully get a handle on crime and violence while in government for the last 13 years. Faber responded to these allegations and suggested the current administration is not responsive to the needs of the most vulnerable in society.
The UDP in government was making its best attempt, and I will give it to you that there might have been more that could have been done. I think we often err in terms of how we handle some of these very important situations like crime, like maybe putting efforts in to fix things that really don't work, like giving the police more equipment and believing that policing the crime situation will help it to subside, when in fact that is just a temporary fix. The term root cause of crime is now very cliche, but it is real. What needs to happen is that we need to address the situation of our young men in particular. We need to address the situation of our families and our homes. We have situations on the south side of Belize City where there is a matchbox house and we have 10 people living in there. There are situations in this country where people sleep some by day and some by night in order to be accommodated in a house. We have houses where children and adults coexist, which causes a lot of sexual situations that are not convenient or are not ideal. So these things are very real, and if people don't know where they're going to get their next meal from, and then you throw on top of that a pandemic and a government that is not responding.
After the break, the Prime Minister takes on climate change and global inaction. But first, here's a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
Hello, welcome to Samsung's awesome experience right here in Belize. Come check it out. Not sure which Samsung Galaxy A series is right for you? Touch, play, and learn about your device before you buy. Once you've purchased your device, you can now benefit from the full Samsung service experience. Your phone is covered by a 1-year local warranty. This includes manufacturer defects and software and hardware issues caused by the manufacturer. Enjoy your phone with peace of mind knowing that your Galaxy is protected. And when your warranty expires, you can still bring it to our certified Samsung Repair Center. Our technicians will diagnose and repair your device with Samsung original parts and machinery. Enjoy the Samsung experience when you shop at any of our authorized partners countrywide, including Cellular World, Digi, Odette's Home Center, Debari, Quartz, Shopify, Gadgets, and Cellular Plus. Join the Samsung experience in Belize today.
The continued fight against COVID-19 requires the continued practice of public health measures across all sectors and in every community. Frequent and proper hand washing, wearing face masks, and physical distancing. Do you know who is not physical distancing? The Aedes aegypti mosquito. Did you know that dengue is the most common mosquito-borne viral disease in the world? So let's get to work. Use window and door screens to keep mosquitoes out. Change the water in vases and scrub inside surfaces to remove mosquito eggs. Avoid using saucers with potted plants to prevent collection of water. Securely cover water barrels and drums with mosquito netting and properly fitted covers. Scrub the inside walls of water barrels and drums with detergent 1 to 2 times per week. Walk around the outside of your home and remove or overturn containers that can collect water and become breeding sites. Mosquitoes only need a small amount of water to lay their eggs. Remove unwanted cans, bottles, buckets, or used tires. Other items still in use must be properly stored in covered areas to avoid water settling in them. Clean roof gutters and air conditioner trays. Debushing and removing tall grass from around your home or establishment is also key to reducing mosquito populations. Fight the bite and protect yourself and your family too from mosquito-borne diseases.
Life can be tough when a loved one suddenly departs. Dependents of the deceased are sometimes left alone to pick up the pieces and may be stranded financially. Fortunately, the Social Security Board provides survivor's benefit to ease the burden. Survivor's benefit is paid to a widow or widower, children under 18 years, or up to 21 years if attending school, or dependent parents. A survivor's benefit can be either a grant or a pension. Want to know more about survivor's benefit? Visit our website or contact any of our offices to have someone assist you. Also, be sure to visit our Facebook page and give us a like to stay informed. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
Bundle the fastest, most reliable, unlimited broadband in Belize with your prepaid or postpaid mobile plan or Netflix. You can bundle your broadband with your prepaid and enjoy 50% off all national calls, plus get SMS and data. Paid plans? Then bundle with any speed and pay only $25 extra monthly to enjoy unlimited smart-to-smart calls, plus 500 minutes, plus 6,300 megabytes of data. Stream unlimited HD movies and TV shows with our broadband, plus the Netflix add-on for only $30 monthly, and enjoy streaming on your laptop, TV, phone, or tablet. Visit a smart showroom near you to sign up or upgrade to the bundle that's right for you. Smart, bringing people together.
On November 1st, Prime Minister John Bersenio will be attending the World Leaders Summit at COP26 in Glasgow, Scotland. The United Nations Climate Change Conference brings together government officials to accelerate action towards the goals of the Paris Agreement signed back in 2016 and the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. The goal is to get countries to commit to agreements made and for smaller developing countries that have been adversely affected to access climate financing for adaptation to the changing climate. Back in September, at the UN General Assembly, PM Bersenio, in his address, said that there is need for urgent corrective action.
No one can deny that the planet is getting hotter. The facts are that July 2021 was the hottest month ever. Each of the last 4 decades have been successively warmer than any decade that preceded it since 1850. Global temperature is now 1.2 degrees warmer. Sea levels are rising. The fact is that global average sea level has risen faster since 1900 than over any preceding century in the last 3,000 years. Since 1900, droughts are unprecedented and have become more frequent and last longer. Severe weather events are more frequent and devastating. The last 20 years have seen the number of major floods more than double, while the incidence of storms grew from 1,457 to 2,034. Mother Nature is rebelling. She is reacting to our destructive tendencies and our refusal to take urgent corrective action. We can do better. And now, Mr. President, our capacity to survive is being tested by the unrelenting COVID-19 pandemic.
Entrepreneurship Week will be celebrated in November, and those who inspire people from around the world through local, regional, and international activities are exploring their potential as innovators. From November 10th to the 12th, a Youth Business in Digital Summit will be held virtually. It focuses on teaching Caribbean-based service providers about how to launch and scale their online businesses so they can sell their services and digital products globally. To break that down, the goal is to give entrepreneurs in the Caribbean a roadmap that will help them set up sustainable business systems, fast-track their business development, and scale their service to serve a global audience. News 5 spoke with one of the hosts of the summit, media and marketing specialist from Trinidad, Carla Williams-Johnson.
We're looking at people who are maybe in the first 5 years of business, who have services that they can package, that can go digital, who's not afraid of technology. Some of us are very afraid of it, who's not afraid of change. We're also looking for people who sell services really and reside within the Caribbean. Because what we found is that there are a lot of people, they're held back by their borders, physical and mental borders, right? They say, oh my God, we're in Trinidad, I can only sell to Trinidadians. That's not true, right? That's not true at all. There's a whole global market out there of people who would pay you in US dollars and pounds and yen and whatever it is you need to be paid in once you put yourself out there. What the summit does for that aspect is gives you a community of people who are just like you, Because for some reason, people think because you're in entrepreneurship, you need to do things alone. That's not true. We need to do things together. And if we come together as a community and we really build and grow and help each other out and give everybody the tools that they need, then you'll be more confident putting yourself forward.
The 3-day summit is all about networking and providing a platform that entrepreneurs can tap into. Among the speakers is Belize's Mervyn Budram. More than just a motivational speaker, the Belizean entrepreneur who has created several successful businesses wants to share tools that can be used by up-and-coming entrepreneurs.
A lot of times getting an idea off the ground takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of resource. I mean, think about it, sending a rocket to the moon takes a lot of resource to burst through the Earth's atmosphere, because there's always that downward gravitational pull. And I think that's one of the things that you first have to make a mental commitment, a mental adjustment that, hey, despite what comes, as hard as it gets, I won't give up, I will press forward. A lot of people mistake entrepreneurship and entrepreneur with business owners. It's different. An entrepreneur is a problem solver. You look into your community, you see a problem, and then you go to start to meet that problem. And if you meet that problem, there's people that's willing to pay you money to solve that problem. The moment you start to collect money for solving that problem, you're no longer just an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur and a business owner. And so the entrepreneur is the spark, it's the idea, it's that solution. But then you gotta enter into that business owner mindset, that management mindset, to take that idea and start to put structure around it so that it can generate more. And we're inspiring people to freedom and wholeness. We create content that really help entrepreneurs, help people develop themselves, help people grow and kind of find who they are and be the best of who they are.
A Guatemalan woman who is trying to speed up the process of getting her permanent residency is out $2,500, and the man accused of scamming her out of the money has been detained. Azucena Cal Raimundo of Camalote Village reported to police that in September she went to the immigration department where she met Kian Cardenas, who claimed that he could get her a permanent residency ID faster and for a fee. She paid him $1,000 on October 1st and then the balance 10 days later. He gave her what appeared to be a legitimate card, but she soon discovered it was fraudulent. Cardenas, a security guard from Tea Kettle, has been detained by police. In August, Belize benefited from an allocation of special drawing rights, commonly known as SDRs, worth around 36 million US dollars by the International Monetary Fund. SDRs, which the IMF created in 1969, are not hard cash, but supplement our foreign exchange reserves to provide a country with liquidity without the need to borrow at high interest rates. Essentially, SDRs play a crucial role in maintaining stability when traditional methods fall short. Minister of State in the Ministry of Finance, Chris Koyi, shared with News 5 on Monday that for the past week, he has been meeting virtually with officials from the IMF as part of a discussion with other countries in the Caribbean. One of the areas that Koyi says Belize can benefit from is through special drawing rights made available by bigger economies that don't need their allocation.
In August of this year, the IMF, the Board of Governors of the IMF approved for the allocation of over, I think, 650 billion SDRs. Belize was the beneficiary of a small proportion of that, which equates to roughly $36 million US, or 72 million Belize. We got that in August. So we got that addition in effect to our foreign exchange reserves, further supporting our currency peg. But you have this allocation was done proportionately. So you have like the US, as one of the member countries, they also get an allocation, but they don't need reserves. Or I shouldn't say that they don't need reserves, but they are one of the stronger countries so far as reserves are concerned. And you have other developed countries that don't need in effect, to have new allocations. So the SDR channeling is about those countries who are on a voluntary basis willing to make available those excess reserves, if you will, to be channeled for different purposes. And one of the purposes that the IMF is putting together is to develop what they call a resiliency and sustainability trust. And through that trust, they will support countries to reduce the risk of balance of payments or difficulties with their balance of payments stability, whether by way of climate change and other pandemics or otherwise. So that is one of those areas where we want to ensure that we would be eligible for access to that channeling through that trust. And the IMF has already indicated that small states, vulnerable countries will be eligible. So that is a positive for us. But that will take about a year to get fully formalized.
On Wednesday, Minister Koyi will meet virtually with an official of the World Bank to discuss similarly what considerations can be made for Belize. He said one of the points he intends to bring up falls under the bank's small island exception policy for consideration for funding. Just ahead, good news for contact sports, details of what to expect when the restrictions lift. But first, here's a weather update with data from the Belize Met Service.
It's a fact that your credit lasts longer when using Smart. During these times, we're all trying to find ways to cut costs and save the little resources we have. With Smart, it's easy to do that. It's a fact that with Smart, your credit lasts longer. You can call Smart to Smart and Smart to Digi using your promo credit, while with the other guy, you can only call OnNet, Digi, or BTL numbers. What does this mean? You get to call any national number using your promo credit. Your promo credit is free, so that call is also free. Know your facts. Don't be tricked by the other guy. Be smart and save your dollars.
Nestle. Start healthy, stay healthy.
As one of the largest cable and internet providers in Belize,
CBC strives to provide our customers with the highest standards of quality, value, and service in all aspects of cable TV and internet. Monitoring our systems closely, our technicians combine creative planning and state-of-the-art technology with years of experience and training to develop and provide the most reliable and advanced cable and internet service to exceed your expectations. For CBC and our team of talented engineers, technicians, and customer service representatives, delivering less than the very best is never an option.
For 18 months, contact sports can now resume after 18 months, that is. But with restrictions, effective Wednesday, October 20th, those wanting to organize and participate in sporting activities such as football, volleyball, basketball, and other disciplines referred to as contact sports can begin. The Ministry of Health and Wellness, along with the National Sports Council, have come up with a process through which one can apply to carry out tournaments and events. At this time, it would have to happen without spectators, but will allow for athletes to train and prepare for national and international matches. News 5 spoke today with Deputy Sports Director Marvin Otley.
I think a lot of athletes have been waiting, but for us, we had to do a lot of back checks in order to get it back and to get it back safely, especially competitive contact sports. And so there is some measures that we will have to follow. Most of the tournament basically, or people who would want to apply for tournaments basically would have to have their COVID protocols in place. And also National Sports Council have its protocols for all its venues that is going to be used. Primarily, if you apply to the National Sports Council for use of the facility, then you have to submit all the teams that will be involved, all the officials that will be involved, and then we forward that to ministry for them to vet it, and then they send it back, and then we give approval for Ministry of Youth and Sports and Ministry of Health, then give approval for the tournament to proceed. It's not a 1 day or a 1 week process. Will take the minimum will be 2 weeks, and so we urge association or people who will be involved in or creating sporting event to follow that process as best as possible. We have sent out press release in regards to how it's going to work. In regards to community sports, we know a lot of that is all over the place. One of the requests, and very important for athletes, they don't have to be teams, but maybe they converge together on a daily basis. Keep your vaccine card, if you could laminate all of them on one file, so that if the police do go and check, you will have them ready, prepared, that the police could look at it, and then you could continue with your practice in a community settings area. And that is for contact sports. Remember, non-contact sports have been on the list that could have had competition.
The National Sports Council and the Belize City Council have teamed up and will be hosting the first ever Belize City Half Marathon on Sunday. The event was to be held during the month of September as part of the annual celebration activities, but was postponed due to the pandemic. They are now forging ahead, and lucrative prizes will be up for grabs for male and female runners, amateurs and professionals. As we found out today, the event begins and ends at the Marion Jones Sporting Complex and will take runners across the city for some 13.1 miles. Kaya Katus spoke to News 5 today as boat counselor and the City Council and sports coordinator with the National Sports Council.
This is something that happened in every big city that we know of. Bringing this to Belize is, I think, one of the best ideas that somebody brought it to me and they said, Kaya, this is something that happens everywhere. You're now in a position at the Belize City Council and the National Sports Council. Let's see how we can make this a reality. And this is, I think this first time that we're doing it, the prizes are lucrative. And this is the start. So imagine where we will have it in the next couple of years. We have 5 water stations along the way for the athletes. At these stations, we will have Belize City councillors. They are handing out water, Powerade, all provided by Boeing and Boeing.
Now, who can participate?
Anybody can participate. We only have 2 categories, and they're very vague, male and female. The prizes are equal for both male and female. It's a $1,000 cash prize for both categories. First place, and we go 10 deep, so top 10 prizes, and it comes right down from $1,000 all the way down to $30.
We have been saying, myself and Kaya and the rest of the team, we have been saying we have to test our mantle. And the only way to do it is to have a live event. And so actually the 2 miles run was one of those. The Belize City Marathon is unique in the way it's designed, the route, because we don't have to have crowd in one specific area, because the marathon is going to touch every portion of the city.
The event starts at 6 a.m. on Sunday, October 24th. Registration begins at 5 o'clock that morning. All participants must present a vaccination card, having received 1 or 2 jabs. On that same day, Kaya Catus leaves Belize for Sacramento, California to compete in the first ever Into the Lion's Den Criterium cycling race. It is being hosted by Belizean national cross-country champ Justin Williams and his team Legion of Los Angeles, with $100,000 in prizes up for grabs. Now, Catus has been competing in a number of international races and placing among other senior cyclists from across the world. This has caught the attention of professional cycling clubs in the U.S. Catus has been training hard and is ready to take on the challenge. During an interview this evening, Kaya told News 5 that she is ready.
I have been preparing well. I mean, I had a great summer run out in the U.S. riding criteriums, and Mr. Glenn Flowers threw a practice race for us yesterday, and I was the only female to line up with the elite guys. I was in every break all day, right up there with the guys, all the way down to the finish. I had a very interesting race, a very good run. It definitely boosted my morale. After that race, I definitely feel like you can do this. If you're in shape to race with the elite guys, you're in shape to race with the pro women.
What's your anticipation?
They will have big teams out there. So riding the race by myself will definitely be a challenge. However, there will be a lot of station prizes, lucrative as well. I have a very fast sprint, and I think that in the beginning of the race, I can definitely go for some of these and, get into some of that action. Winning the race is a very, it's far-fetched, but for me, nothing is too grand. I'm going out there, going to give it my best shot. Recently in the US, I did, I'd say, quite an amazing job in the 17 international races that I've done this summer. I won a silver medal at Dominican Republic for the Caribbean Cycling Championship. So I've been quite in a role, and I think that I'm quite in the condition that I need to be able to do something at this race.
Up next, is someone tampering with your tacos? Paul Lopez looks into the strange allegations. Find out what he found out today when we return.
What is the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine? The Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine is an RNA vaccine that triggers our immune system to develop antibodies against the SARS-CoV-2 virus that causes COVID-19. It helps to reduce hospitalization, severity of the disease, and death. What is the Pfizer vaccine made of, and is it safe? The Pfizer vaccine is made up of mRNA messenger ribonucleic acid, which are molecules that carry the genetic information needed to make proteins, lipid, salts, and sugar. It is safe for persons 12 years and older and does not contain the COVID-19 virus, hence cannot cause infection. Tests have shown that the vaccine is effective against current virus variants. Who should take the Pfizer vaccine? The Pfizer vaccine should be taken by persons 12 years of age and older who do not have severe allergic reaction after a previous dose of vaccine or have not had severe allergic reaction to any ingredient of this vaccine. 2 doses of the vaccine are required 3 weeks apart. If you are between the ages of 12 and 17 years, you are required to present a signed consent form before you are vaccinated. What are the side effects of the Pfizer vaccine? Some common side effects of the Pfizer vaccine are headache, fatigue, muscle pain, fever, chills, and swelling at the injection site. If side effects persist, contact your doctor as soon as possible. Does the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine prevent infection and transmission? No, vaccination alone does not prevent infection and transmission. We are still required to continue to wear masks properly, physically distance, wash and sanitize hands often, practice proper coughing and sneezing hygiene, and avoid crowds.
Is always with you, from live TV, sports, and on-demand titles. Choose your plan today. Plans start as low as $15 per month. My TV, entertainment, anytime, anywhere.
When something is good and you can save, that makes it even better. Like this guy. He buys Flex bundles using his promo credit. No worries when his primary credit is finished. He gets talk, text, and data for free. Or her, she calls her family internationally with her promo credit. And with data packages so affordable, she even does video calls. Smart continues to offer great deals and affordable promotions. As a small business owner, she saves when she uses her promo credit to call the other guys. All Smart customers enjoy more triple days and knowing they can use their promo credit, which just lasts longer. Smart, bringing people together.
Belizeans just love their tacos, which is probably why a report that a man had gotten ill from consuming tacos that contained something other than chicken went viral today. But as News 5 found out, after a day of investigations, so far there seems to be no truth to the report. This did not stop reporter Paul Lopez from taking on the case. On the contrary, he welcomed the chance to go on a little taco run today.
Delicious and cheap, soft tacos are a Belizean staple. A hot, soft corn tortilla or flour tortilla pasted with a juicy shredded chicken, diced onions, cabbage, and pepper sauce. It is rolled into a tube and consumed using your bare hands. Street vendors like this one set up their little stand where they sell in an al fresco environment, exposed to the elements. Today, however, it is not the exposure to the rain or the sun or the flies that is causing a stir. It's toilet paper.
You've heard the reports that there's a tacos salesperson using toilet paper in the tacos to stretch the meat.
Yes, I've heard of it just this morning.
That's Sihan Avia, a street-side tacos vendor who, like us, read an online news report saying a tacos vendor was told to shut down operations after it was discovered that the vendor was using toilet paper in their tacos meat.
It's hard to believe that that is happening, because I believe that paper is something that when you taste it, no matter how much, if it's the amount that it's claimed to be said, that you could realize that that's not meat that you're biting, because you have that like rubber taste. It should have something that's different from meat than something that is paper in an amount that they're claiming.
Between us both, Sihan is the expert on making soft tacos. She has been doing this since she was 11 years old. She has lids on every container and pot, Her corn tortillas are stored in a cooler to contain its warmth and freshness. The chicken she uses has a paste-like texture, less consistent with the texture of toilet paper and more consistent with gravy of sorts. The onions she adds are also sealed for freshness, a bit of pepper and roll. Zihan says in all her years of making tacos, she has never heard something like this allegation.
No. I have sold tacos in this business since I am 11 years old. So I have never heard of that of stretching that for the meat. Several people claim that. In my years, I've heard people say that, yes, they say that some people use bread, that some people use other sources and they mix the meat with. But sometimes it's just somebody sometimes just a bad worker had a bad experience with a boss and then just spread rumors so rumors could spread, just to give it a bad name.
But it is hard to give a bad name to something so good. It is much easier to make light of these reports, as Belizeans do so well.
Mister, this is the new way how you do tacos. You mix up the toilet paper with the tacos meat and you get doubly amount. And that's how we have to do it in a hard time here. What? Yes, the harder the toilet paper, the harder the tacos. And the softer the toilet paper, the nicer and softer the tacos is.
Public health authorities say there is no evidence to suggest that any tacos vendor is using toilet paper to make their chicken go farther. In fact, public health inspectors have spent the day checking and none of them have found anything. Right now, it is looking more and more like this was a case of fake news, but one that can harm legitimate vendors.
I spoke to our public health inspectors and they were up in arms. They're like, definitely not. And of course, like they told me, if something like that would have happened, they would have reported it to me right away. Definitely, we never visited any taco stand and we didn't close down anybody.
People believe that this business is something that gives us a big amount of money or is easy. But it's not an easy job. We're up from 3 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning to prepare.
And the argument is that because it's such a hard job and it doesn't get you rich overnight, that's the reason why people may want to cut corners. And that's the reason why people may want to do stuff like this.
I don't believe that people would do that. It's something hard to believe that somebody will actually, because then we also eat our own tacos, I believe, so that if my family eat home, or my family come and eat that day, so I believe that the same way how I'm serving you, I'll be serving my own family.
Delicious to the last bite. No toilet paper was detected. Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5news.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.